Thank you for purchasing the Brother Overlock machine. In this DVD, we'll begin by explaining the features of your machine. The machine is connected to a foot controller, which is plugged into the electrical outlet. Step on the foot controller to start sewing. Sliding the front cover right reveals a storage compartment for small sewing items. You can remove the bed extension for free arm sewing of tubular pieces. Attach the optional trim trap for a convenient way to catch trimmed fabric. To attach the trim trap, insert it fully with both marks on the trim trap and the machine aligned. The trim trap can also be used to store the foot controller after use. Next, we'll show how to prepare for threading. Always turn off the machine before threading. Raise the thread tree fully and load the thread spools. Use the presser foot lifting lever to lift the presser foot. Turn the hand wheel towards you to align the marks. Once the needle is fully raised, the machine is ready for threading. Next, we'll show you how to thread the machine. This example is for a 2-needle, 4-thread setting. From right to left is viewed from the front. These spools are for the lower looper, the upper looper, the right needle, and the left needle. For safety, always turn off the machine before threading. Next, open the front cover. To thread the lower looper, pass the thread tree thread through the thread holder, from the back of the thread plate to the front, and through the hole numbered 3. After passing this thread through the blue tension disc, pass it through each threading point numbered in blue, one after another, consecutively up to 8. Next, slide the lower looper threading lever 9 right to remove the lower looper to the right. Pass the thread around A and through the eye of the lower looper. Pass the thread up behind the upper looper. Hold it with your left hand and rotate the hand wheel once. Now, thread the upper looper the same way. After passing the thread through the green tension disc, pass it through each threading point numbered in green, one after another, consecutively, up to 7. After passing the thread through the eye of the upper looper, hold it toward the left. Thread the right needle just as you did the looper. Pass the thread through the pink tension disc and through each threading point numbered in pink, one after another consecutively, and then on the right of the separator. After passing the thread through the needle bar thread guide, pass it through the eye of the right needle. Thread the left needle just as you did the looper. Pass the thread through the yellow tension disc and through each threading point numbered in yellow, one after another consecutively, and then on the left of the separator. After pressing the thread through the needle bar thread guide, pass it through the eye of the left needle. You have now finished threading for a 2-needle, 4-thread setting. Next, we'll show how to adjust the stitch. To adjust the tension of the upper thread, use the tension adjustment dial. From right to left, the dials are for the lower looper, upper looper, right needle, and left needle. The dials can usually be set at 4, but you can use a lower value for lighter tension or a higher value for greater tension. The stitch length can usually be set at 3, but you can set the stitch length dial to a lower value for shorter stitches or a higher value for longer stitches. The stitch width can usually be set at 5, but you can set the stitch width dial to a higher value for wider stitches or a lower value for narrower stitches. To adjust the foot pressure, use the presser foot pressure adjustment screw. It can usually be set at 2. Turn the screw counterclockwise to reduce the foot pressure or clockwise to increase it. Two differential feed dogs are on the front and back of the machine. The feed amount of each can be adjusted to match your particular fabric for neater stitching. The differential feed can usually be set at 1.0. For fabric that tends to pucker during sewing, set it at 0.7 to 1.0. And for fabric that tends to stretch during sewing, set it at 1.0 to 2.0. Now, let's try a test sewing. Turn the machine on and lift the presser foot. Holding the 4 threads in your left hand, pull the threads about 15 centimeters behind the presser foot. Load the fabric and lower the presser foot. Turn the hand wheel towards you a few times and make sure the stitches are sewn. Hold the fabric to guide it and step on the foot controller to start sewing. After sewing a while, check the stitches to make sure they are uniform. If the stitches are not neat, try adjusting the stitching as described previously. Sew for about 5 centimeters beyond the ending point. Stop the machine and cut the thread with scissors. Now, let's try a real sewing session. Turn the machine on, lower the presser foot, and step on the foot controller without sewing the fabric. Make a chain about 5 centimeters long. Lift the presser foot and load fabric, aligned with the presser foot guide. Guide the fabric with your hands and use the foot controller to adjust the speed. Let's take a look at how to secure chains to prevent fraying. After placing fabric, run the machine without sewing to make a chain about 5 centimeters long. Pull the chain around in front and under the presser foot. Hold the chain and sew a few stitches. Cut off the extra chain with the knife. At the end of the seam, sew 1 stitch outside the fabric edge and stop the machine. Lift the presser foot and raise the needle, and then turn the fabric over. Turn the hand wheel towards you to lower the needle into the same position at the end of the seam. Lower the presser foot and start sewing. Finally, cut away the extra thread with scissors. Besides securing the chain this way, you can unseam the chain thread and tie it. You can use a hand sewing needle with a large eye in the stitch. Another method is to apply a drop of fabric glue to the end of the stitch. After it dries, cut away the extra thread. Now let's look at some other stitches and sewing techniques. For a 1 needle, 3 thread setting, remove either the right or the left needle. Always turn off the machine before removing needles. Turn the hand wheel towards you to raise the needle. Holding the needle in your left hand, use the included hexagonal driver to remove it. Before sewing a rolled hemming stitch, remove the left needle and stitch finger. To remove the stitch finger, open the front cover and pull the stitch finger to the right. Store the stitch finger in the front cover compartment for safekeeping. If you will sew without cutting the fabric edge, retract the knife with the knife lever in the front cover. Here, we'll show how to replace the thread. Cut the thread over the thread spool, load the new spool, and tie on the new thread. Lift the presser foot and turn the hand wheel to lower the needle. Under these conditions, pull the thread to the position of the knot. When the knot reaches the tip of the needle, cut the thread with scissors, raise the needle, and thread the eye of the needle. You can also replace the thread of the upper looper and lower looper in the same way by pulling the thread. Next, we'll cover machine maintenance. Always turn off the machine before maintenance. Be sure to turn the hand wheel to lower the needle. Open the front cover and use the included cleaning brush to clean the machine. We recommend regular maintenance. To ensure smooth and silent operation of the machine, oil the upper and lower looper regularly. Let's take a look at sewing techniques available with the optional feet. Always turn off the machine before replacing feet. Lift the presser foot and push the foot holder button to remove the presser foot. With the replacement foot aligned with the foot holder pin, lower the presser foot lever and attach the presser foot. Use the blind stitch foot when blind stitching sleeves of t-shirts, cuffs of sweatpants, or other stretchable fabric. To make a gather, attach the gathering foot and adjust the differential feed. With the pearl sequence foot, you can sew beads, pearls, and other decorations on collars or skirt hems. The piping foot enables you to sew piping between two layers of fabric. This option is useful for decorative trim on bags or cushions. And with taping foot, you can cut the fabric edge while sewing on elastic tape, which is useful for sweaters, aprons, and other pieces. We hope you enjoy sewing your own pieces on your Brother Overlock machine.